podcast where we talk all things art, culture, and entertainment, but more specifically pop culture and entertainment. My name is Will, and I'm the host today. Holy fuck, we are recording a lot later than usual.
Oh my god, yes we are.
Jesus, we got caught up playing catch up with friends. Go check out our friend Malik's podcast. Hi, it's a podcast, but with me today I have my pretty regular co-host Aaron. What's good with you, man? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good. About to go to AX this weekend. About to go on another trip pretty soon here. I'm pretty excited about. Acting going great. Poetry's going great. Just finished filming Umbrella Academy season 3 with my friend Greg over at the Bro Rejects. Fun season. We'll probably talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I'm doing good overall, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, work it's picking up, but for some reason it's a lot more manageable than it has been in the past. So doing that. I was a guest over on I need to remember the podcast name. We were talking about Obi-Wan, which we'll also probably be talking about later. But we were talking about Reva specifically, and just kind of like if she's a stereotype, and some of our feelings about like black representation in, you know, the galaxy far, far away. I think it was Galactic Outpost or something. I have to find the name. Damn it. Yeah, so I did that last week, and then mostly just kind of been chilling. I have content to work on that I haven't gotten back to yet. I'll get back to it eventually when I feel the time, you know. So this is probably the closest thing that y'all motherfuckers gonna get till I finish that Fresh Prince review, which isn't gonna take long. It's just tedious, and right now I'm just kind of crunching to prepare because we'll be at BLERDcon next week. Well, by the time you hear this, it'll probably be like a couple days out. But yeah. So the week of July 8th. So that'll be fun. Maybe in the future we'll do a panel together. That'd
be dope. But I'm excited to see a Marvel movie in person with you, because the odds of that happening while we're together is like crazy. So I'm hyped to see it because we used to do a Marvel podcast specifically about Marvel. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think we'll probably watch the Boys finale after that too. Yes. So that's gonna be a really like dense weekend, but I am looking forward to it. So
yeah, the odds of both of those things come out on the same day is awesome. I think one more thing comes out. I'm not mistaken. Double check.
Is the Miss Marvel finale that week or no? Or is that in 2 weeks? That's in 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, that's after we get back.
Okay. I'm trying to think what else.
No, that's
it. Feels like there's a third thing.
For a half a second, I thought Super Pets came out that same weekend, but
yeah. It's like, oh shit, bro, we gotta go out to that.
Super Pets, fuck Thor.
to Black as Men, 2 tickets to Super Pets, please.
Oh, will you guys be buying children's tickets too? No.
You know why we're here.
God damn it. I'm an Ace stan.
It's like, oh yeah, where's Streaky the Super Cat when you need him?
Oh god, I hope the kids see it. It's the most underrated comic book movie of 2022. Everyone
not sleeper hit. Not the Paw Patrol movie.
Oh, that happened? Was that this year?
Oh no, I think that was last year because we were talking cash shit about. I was like, oh my god, bro, Paw Patrol with I think wasn't Kim Kardashian in it?
No, was she? Was that a thing?
She's in one. It's either this one or that one. She's in one of them. I'm almost certain.
Paw Patrol the movie 2021. Tyler Perry's in it.
Oh my! I do remember that.
Oh wow! Jimmy Kimmel's in it. Dan Shepard. Yara Shahidi's in it. Kim Kardashian is in it. What the hell?
Okay, see, I did remember correctly. I'm not tweaking. It's not drugs.
It's not okay. Yeah, no, you remember that accurately. Okay, right.
Oh man, oh man. So I guess we should hop into topics. We'll start annoying, and then I mean annoying is an understatement. Then kind of go from there. Um. Oh fuck. Okay, we should probably talk about like the state of America. I know this is a pop culture podcast, so we don't really delve into like the political too much, but just Jesus Christ, like holy fuck. Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. Uh, there's another bit of news involving the Miranda rights. If I recall correctly, it basically means that like you still have Miranda rights, but I don't think you can sue police for like aggression against you.
What?
Uh, in relation to the rights, I could be misquoting, because I don't have it in front of me right now, and it's the middle of the morning night. But yeah, so that's a whole nother mess. You know, Clarence Thomas, who I want to call a myriad of disrespectful names, also like alluded to potentially trying to overturn some other legal proceedings that work to that help to kind of keep gay marriage and access to contraception available. But funny enough, not interracial marriage. I wonder why. I wonder why the black man with a white insurrectionist wife would not want to overturn interracial marriage. Boy, isn't that something? Ain't that crazy? But yeah, no, this shit is just atrocious. It did make me very much curious about who a lot of my state representatives are, like state and county and whatnot. My county representatives are actually pretty progressive. They're putting forward a lot of bills that I'm hoping get passed in uh, our Senate, but like trying to bump up minimum wage and uh, you know improving healthcare resources and mental healthcare accessibility to like veterans and education budget increases and stuff like that. So like all stuff that I can get on board for. But for a lot of states, they basically had trigger laws that activated. So as soon as they got overturned, I think it was like 20 states basically banned it outright. Um, like I'm just being like you don't have to give what your personal opinions are, but it's like I'm gonna keep it a beam, bro. It's like I'm here for the choice. Like it's if you don't want to have a baby, you shouldn't be forced to. And if you do want to have a baby, that's okay too. You know, just give people the option. And also there are probably like some cases that maybe necessitate abortion and like medical emergencies, and there's definitely a lot of cases where like it's severely underplayed how much physical and psychological trauma that does impart on a person, even if they have more than one. So it's like a pregnancy in general is already hard, but to like uh, terminate a pregnancy and like getting rid of a fetus, that's like that's also hard. You know, women's biology is some crazy ass shit, man. Like if you ever stop and think about it, it's wild, bro. It's some wild shit. So
Oh, I
you know,
agree.
if y'all are, it's like if y'all out here in these streets, stay safe, you know, but really stay smart and put people in your local office because those are the ones that are gonna impact you a lot more. I'll say is like just get a greater understanding of just like who runs what where in your own backyard. I know that's definitely more research that I have to dig into. But I just remember I woke up, I started work, and then like an hour in, I'm like, oh, let me check social media, and it was just flooded. My timeline was flooded with shit. People were furious, rightfully so. Um, it just kind of goes to show that it's just like a lot of people are pushing a I would infer a religious based agenda from and kind of hiding it under the guise of like political liberties, which I highly disagree with because I'm like, what you're saying that you're trying to make a better choice by giving the states the options, knowing that a bunch of places have trigger laws because you just don't want them to do it. But you're not preventing abortions, you're just increasing the likelihood of unsafe abortions. So that's basically my piece. I didn't know if you wanted to pitch in anything on that. Don't feel obligated.
Well, no,
It's
man.
up to you, man.
growth on this
Right.
show, and it's kind of funny that we're talking about this because I just had a conversation with a good buddy of mine who I hadn't talked to in a minute, who I just caught up with, and yeah, I feel like we're on the same page. You know, like when I'm not on social media at the moment, so I don't know everyone's thoughts going into it, but I have a general idea, I'm sure, of like a lot what the people within my specific circles think. But yeah, I just think it's wrong and it's unfair to the people that do want to have abortions, and by making it harder for them. And it's kind of funny that the same people that are against abortions are also against uh, immigrants and
Universal
whatnot,
healthcare.
because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's those same people that like aren't able to have the resources to have, because when you think about what it takes to have a baby, you need to be able to provide for a baby and be able to have the
Yes.
mental stability to take care of that baby, make sure that it grows up to be, stable. And I think that
Yep.
we live in a society of people having babies because they either don't have a choice or don't have the resources to not have the baby, which cause so many issues with so many people today. And then that
Mm-hmm.
cycle is just perpetual. And the fact that we live in a society that doesn't see that or doesn't recognize that, I think is something that's even more dangerous. Because, I've been in situations
Right.
before. I had one specific incident last year where I thought I was going to be a father. And I gave that choice to
Yeah.
the mother, but then it turned out to be a prank. So that was a little fucked up. But yeah, I was,
Yeah.
but I knew I was not in the position to raise a child, both from a financial standpoint and from maturity standpoint, or in a mental stability standpoint, at the point where I am in my life. And I feel like a lot of people don't really take that into factor, and it's a real shame that because of what people deem to be their Christian values, or their religious values, and I think that
Let's be
I
real.
think
It's Christian
it's Christian
values.
values. It's Christian
It's because
values.
I haven't heard any. I've actually seen shit about Jewish people say that it's not a value for them to like prevent abortion.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Don't quote me on that, because I probably need to fact check it. But it was something that I like saw at a glance. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And like Jon Stewart touched on it too, because he recently dropped his podcast talking about the overturning. But yeah, it's very much a pseudo Christian thing, but like
But I
I
think
don't even think
a lot of the
Bible
times
mentions anything about it.
they use that not because that's what the book says, but I think it's more specifically they use that as justification for their own personal beliefs. But because it's within
I agree.
there, they like, oh, you see, I must feel right because it says this thing, more so than they're following the book order. So I just
Yeah,
highly,
it's
highly
a lot
disagree
more
with
of
that.
like a dog whistle
Exactly.
than anything else.
Yeah. So
For like some fundamentalist beliefs.
yeah, everyone should have a choice to do what they want with their body, and everyone should have the ability to have resources to take care of their children, even if they do decide to go through with having that baby. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm all about freedom of choice.
Yeah.
And personal responsibility. So
Yeah, and I can definitely relate to you about like that, because I've had a handful of instances where like that fear crept in. Only, I'd say one of those times where I'm just like, it is more so because of who the person was. I was just like, maybe, but but I still knew in my heart of hearts I wasn't ready in any of those scenarios. And luckily, they weren't false positives. It was just weird scenarios. I guess we could talk about it off the show.
Right,
But
right.
no, it's like I think the big thing is you're wanting people to have children, but not providing the necessary financial and medical resources. So we're not giving people mandatory paid leave longer than like 2 weeks, which is definitely not enough time. We're not giving both parents paid leave. If it's a single parent, we're not mandating fathers, the father of the child, pay any sort of like support for the child. We're not creating we're not improving wages so people can like afford to have kids, especially in this market. We're running out of baby formula. Like we're not doing anything to protect these kids. And also, what about all these other kids in like adoption systems? You know, so
Yeah.
it's like you're not really creating any nets for people that maybe do choose to have these children but don't have the resources. So even if even if you have the choice, which I think people should have the choice, do you have like the financial resources to back that up? And more than likely, no. Like we don't have the universal health care that allows it to be affordable for women to be able to like give birth, or people to like be parents. So it's like it's just not financially viable for most people under 30 to have kids.
Right.
And now you're trying to like force people to do it. It's like, no, now they're just going to find other ways to have abortions if they don't want kids. And if they do want kids, now they're just going to be having to spend more money that they don't have. Like I've seen it firsthand. I work with people with like they wanted their kid, but I also have talked with them about their finances. It's not a fun thing, not a fun conversation to see people that are like penny pinching because they want to provide for their family that they did choose to have. So you can't have one without, the other. So it's like if you want people to have kids, then help provide resources so that they can have lives that can help support that kid. And for the people that don't want to have kids, great. They probably have their own reasons. Why would you want, if somebody's like, hey, I have a history of like all these terrible health defects and I want to have sex, but I don't want kids, why would you force that? Why would you, force that on somebody? Give them a choice, I believe in autonomy in these streets.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous shit.
It's ridiculous.
But
it's fucked up, and I think they just made a huge mistake.
Yeah, speaking of monsters destroying America, Godzilla vs. Kong 2 officially got a release date for. It got a release date for March, I think March 24th or March 29th of 2024.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I think all I really want to touch on with that is what we would want from a sequel to GVK. I think for that, because it's my of the 4 movies that they had in that franchise. I guess phase 1 of the MonsterVerse. Let me make sure I got this date right. But yeah, so it is March. But yeah, I mean, I want to see them get more Toho characters, so ones like Anguirus and Gigan, but the one that I fingers crossed really, really want them to do is I want them to have Baggin as the villain. I've been pining for him for years, ever since I found out about him when he worked at the YouTube channel. I just think he's a really great character that has never made it to the big screen, and Toho has never introduced him in a movie. He's only appeared in like side stories and video games. But he can he's a giant kaiju that can shapeshift, and he has 3 different forms. And I think now that there's kind of a mutual peace with Kong, between Kong and Godzilla for the time being, I think having them both having to team up again for like this weird monstrous shape-shifting threat, I think that would be a cool setup. But they're probably gonna try and swing more towards Destroya. I imagine that's one of the bigger ones. Maybe Gigan, because he's another popular character. But I hope they kind of do an original villain, and I also hope we get a focus on the other Titans as well. So the ones that like they showed but didn't really give a lot of time to. So I hope they kind of give more time and exploration to that. And yeah, but I mean, what do you kind of want out of the movie?
Well, first off, I want to say the MonsterVerse I know is more your wheelhouse, but I did end up seeing Godzilla versus Kong, and I had a fun time with it. Like, it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, it was fun. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fine. It was like, it wasn't my favorite of the year, but it was entertaining.
It's a good popcorn movie.
Good popcorn movie. Yeah, I don't have a lot of expectations going into it. I would like to see more. I would like to see more team ups between Godzilla and Kong, because I think that stuff was really fun. Obviously, they're gonna fight again. I wonder what the timeline will be for this one. take place just right after the one we just saw, or do a huge time jump? You know, how much of the alternative universe, like the center of the Earth, is going to be involved in it? Will the setting of the majority of the movie be there? Are they going to be fighting in another city? So these are all kind of questions I have going into it. But yeah, overall, like, yeah, I'll watch another one. I'll do it. Yeah, I'm more of a casual monster verse fan, but yeah, like, I had a good time. So yeah, I'll see a second one.
Yeah, I think I thought the first one was fun. I need them to bring back Bear McCrae for the soundtrack, because say what you will about King of the Monsters, that soundtrack is just it's great. It's really dope, and there's a lot of heart and passion that went into that. So it's a beautiful score. And if you haven't like listened to it, it is like really really good. Especially with like how he redoes the original Godzilla theme, and also does a cover of like the what's it? I can't remember the band's name, but like the rock song Godzilla. So it's cool. So moving on to other things, Obi-Wan Kenobi recently finished its run on Disney Plus, and let's talk about how we felt about the series, and just kind of give our thoughts about it. Full spoilers ahead, full steam we're going. I thought it was good, not great. Which it kind of left me. I think it had a solid finale, but overall, I think this is one of those rare situations where I kind of understand fan expectations. Not so much in terms of narrative, but kind of execution, where this show, I think, should have been a knockout. It should have been like an easy swish. It should have been like just a really simple win for Lucasfilms. And somehow they kind of struggled with it a little bit in the middle in some parts. Mm-hmm. So like Ewan's acting perfectly fine. He's good. He's channeling his Alec Guinness the whole show, and he's like making that transition from his version of Obi-Wan from Ewan's version of Obi-Wan to Alec's version, which is fine. I'm fine with that. You know, it taking place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. That timeline is cool. That's fine. You know, we got young Luke. Leia is not 10, but somehow 10. That girl is definitely like 6 or 7. It's like, okay, small ass 10-year-old, whatever. That was probably the most unrealistic thing about the show. Reva's a character, I think. So I don't want people to drag me for this, but I was kind of hoping she was gonna die because and not because I don't want black people in Star Wars. I actually quite enjoyed Reva's acting. It was nice to see a Sith who was actually fucking emotional, other than Darth Vader, who's a petty, bitchy drama queen. And that part comes out a lot in the show. But it's like, for dark side users, like, their whole thing, in contrast to the Jedi, is that they're like hyper emotional, especially when it comes to anger, and they weaponize their feelings. So when Reva came out like guns blazing and really pissed off and like weaponizing her anger, I'm like, yeah, that's perfectly in character for like dark side users. So I love that was an element that was being exemplified. The weaknesses, I think, in her story is, I think it should have highlighted more that she is both a failure of Anakin and Obi-Wan. And I don't think it properly gave her the attention that she kind of deserved. And I think it just kind of led to even greater disrespect. Like, I think what they should have done is cut out the fact that, like, I know in Rebels, the Grand Inquisitor shows up and he looks how he does in the series. I'd say cut that bit out, or cut him out of this one. Have Reva be the Grand Inquisitor prior to him. so that when
Oh,
she dies, he becomes the next Grand Inquisitor.
that would make sense. I would have liked that.
Yeah, she like what because and then she'd already be close to Vader, and she's trying to get revenge on Obi-Wan because, he wasn't there to protect the youngling, so she's mad at him, but also Anakin, which that storyline I saw the Obi-Wan half coming. I didn't see the Vader half coming. I didn't see her being bitter at Anakin and putting two and two together about that coming, but it showed that she's like smarter than given. Which is cool, which is fine. But um, I think Riva should have been the bridge between those two. And I think it should have also highlighted those two more. Like, I wish we would have gotten more of Hayden Christensen because the little we got of him, he was great. He was great as Vader. When they had that flashback, the one that was set during the Clone Wars era where he's supposed to be 19 and he's clearly 41.
Right.
Which I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't just set that in Revenge of the Sith era or like post Clone Wars, but pre Sith, like the Clone Wars TV show era, where he did have that longer hair. I don't know, did he not want to wear the wig? Like, I don't know what was up with that. Because it would have just worked better. It would have been, you could have just added some makeup, made him look a little younger. Like, someone de-aged that Anakin and it was perfectly fine the same day that the episode came out. They just did the fight, did a little tweaking to make his face a little slimmer and clear up some wrinkles, and boom, it was perfect.
I was like, didn't you guys
so you
hire
have the
guy that's supposed to be able to do that and make it look good? I thought you guys got that guy from YouTube. What happened?
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know what happened there. Like, I didn't hate it. It didn't bother me, but it did take me out a little bit. So I'm just like, Deborah, what's, and I know that the script got rewritten from a completely different writer. But still, this doesn't seem like a rush job. Like, all the other effects and everything look fine for the most part. Like and I don't want to seem like I'm harping on the show. Like, I think the strongest bits of the show for me are Ewan, Hayden, Leia's actress. I think nailed it. Actually, I think she was really good.
Yeah, she's great.
Because Leia's always been a little bit obnoxious and spoiled and a little bratty, and very headstrong and stalwart, kind of like. But those are characteristics of her parents too, so you can see a lot of that in her. So I think the actress was fine. I like that we got off-world of Tatooine for a little bit. Hate that we went back, but I do like the fact that we got a couple new locations, like Fortress. Not Fortress Vader, Fortress Inquisitorius, and that one cyberpunk looking planet. That was kind of neat. I really like the fights that we had with Vader. And I really like the first and last episode. I think it starts and closes relatively strong. It's just kind of that the middle part of getting to that is a little bumpy. But what are kind of your thoughts? What was your experience watching the show?
So, if memory serves correctly, this show and Stranger Things dropped on the same night. And while all my friends were out there,
oh my fuck,
Obi-Wan,
did they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah. Well,
oh no.
So,
I was watching Stranger Things too.
So while all my friends were out there watching Obi-Wan and getting their Star Wars hype on, I went and sat my happy ass down and watched Stranger Things, and did not regret a single moment of that choice. And then,
yeah, we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah,
maybe we'll talk about that while we're at Blurred.
Right. No, definitely. And then I waited a couple days, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'll watch Obi-Wan. Because I think for me, the premise of seeing an Obi-Wan Kenobi show that takes place in between two movies that we've seen for decades. Well, yeah, we saw what? Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005. And
yeah,
obviously
and
the other ones came out in the 70s.
A New Hope came out in like 79, so,
Yeah,
literal decades, like 3 decades apart.
So the feeling I had going into this movie was the feeling that I left with going into Black Widow, or leaving Black Widow, and
yeah,
because it's an in between quel, it takes place.
It's a midquel.
It's a midquel. Black Widow is a midquel. This is a midquel. And
they're both kind of mid.
Yeah, exactly. So with a story like this, there's not a lot of places you can really go. You're not going to fear for the characters' lives because we know what happens to them. and he can't really change too much because we know where their stories are going. So you have a
Right.
limited flexibility with how much room you have to tell your story. And I think at the end of the day, this show, outside of the finale, which is pretty cool, didn't justify its existence to me. It didn't justify being a show. I could have easily seen this being a movie and condensing all the stuff, all the good bits, into a 2-hour film. And what were the best parts of the show were the Vader and Obi-Wan stuff, their connection, their relationship. I really dug the fact that they put light on the fact that Obi-Wan didn't even know that Anakin was still alive. I was like, oh, okay. I hadn't even thought that to be a thing. I never thought of that as a concept. And I was like, I'm happy that they explored that. And then I liked the transition from him blaming himself and feeling like he failed his Padawan to realizing and accepting that this was his own doing and calling him Darth at the end. I thought that was very cool and kind of worked in a way where it's not necessary, but it does add a little flavor to their confrontation in A New Hope.
Right.
Like a lot of the stuff was fine to me. Like I don't have any strong feelings about the show, and I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Yes,
I don't have any. I don't have
I
strong.
agree.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. It just kind of is. I'm trying to in my head here. I'm trying to navigate which one I feel more indifference to. No, and I quickly resolved that. I was gonna say I don't know if I feel more indifference toward Book of Boba Fett or this one, but at least Book of Boba Fett had the Mandalorian episodes that really saved the show for me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, those Mando episodes were tight as fuck.
They really picked up the pace for that Boba Fett show.
Because like the best moment in this show. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's like the best moment arguably comes in the last episode where you see that transition between Anakin and Darth.
Yeah.
Where he has like, after he gets his mask flash and you see James Earl Jones and Hayden Christensen
and them talking in
being
one.
able to act. Yeah. Talking in one. And I'm just like, that's some cool ass shit. That's really cool.
What this funny enough made me want is, because we are now live in a day and age where we have all of this Star Wars content and all of this history fueled from the original trilogy that we got way back in the 70s. And I think this made me want, it was something we'll never get, but imagine if they made the original trilogy with the knowledge and all of the context put into those original movies. Like, imagine how different they would be. Like, granted, they still work if you watch them in chronological order, but you would feel the history more between Obi-Wan.
They don't
Vader.
work that well.
They don't work that well.
I did it before Rise.
I
did it before Rise of Skywalker, and I will tell you, it is a goddamn nightmare.
Really?
Jesus Christ! It is a total. If there were a existential crisis for tone, watching those movies in chronological order, with the exception, I didn't watch Solo. I didn't rewatch Solo because fuck that movie. And I didn't rewatch Rogue One. But the numbered movies, all in chronological order, is a fucking tilt-a-whirl from a viewer experience. Not just in terms of like filmmaking and shit like that, but you go from like this bland, dated, like political drama with action beats to this swashbuckling action adventure traditional story with twists and turns that are really interesting. And then I don't even know what the fuck to describe the sequels as. You get a remake and then a really creative idea with debatable execution, and then the most complicated bookend probably in the history of cinema. And that's your narrative for the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
It is a goddamn mess. It is a mess where the strongest part is the middle, which wasn't supposed to be a middle. And it shows.
Right. Yeah, and I think that had we thought about the context of what we were doing, and maybe if George Lucas wasn't, because like if you look at it on paper, if you look at the prequels on paper, it looks really
the prequels
good.
are,
It's a really tragic story.
yes,
Then it leads into this this thing with the OG trilogy, and like man, if we had the OG trilogy made after the events and that were informed by the things that came after it, I wonder how different it would look. That's what this series made me think about.
Well, what I'm completely fine with is if they basically take the original trilogy and just like redo it in animation, because like Disney did that with a couple snippets from the original trilogy where they like got this really stylistic animation style, which I really dug. It was really cool. But they made like little shorts to do like sequences from different movies. But they took the audio from the original. And I'm like, this is great. Just do that. Just like it doesn't it recontextualizes it in a way that I think might be a little bit more digestible. Now, granted, the prequels, I'd honestly just want them to do that as like a series, like they did with Clone Wars, because that allows, I think, for a little bit more growth and development to see Anakin's progression from one to the other. Like, I'd be fine if Dave Filoni was like, I want to redo the trilogy as like, with the cartoon voice cast and a voice cast of my own, combination to add a little bit more depth and balance to make that political shit a lot more digestible. Because like George Lucas is really interesting as a creative, but god damn it, he can't write dialogue to save his fucking life. Which is a shame, because apparently if you find some of the deleted scenes for the movies, they have some creative shit. There's one I remember from, it was Attack of the Clones, oddly enough, the one that I'd say most people don't like of the prequel trilogy, where Anakin and Obi-Wan are kind of going back and forth and using hand gestures to figure out what plan they want to do to get out of the sticky situation, and they end up like using their lightsabers and twirling in a circle into the floor, and run away. And it's like, well, Anakin, what are we gonna do to get out of this situation? He's like, well, I don't know, Master. Perhaps we do. And he like flicks his nose. He's like, well, I was thinking more so like, and he like tugs his like shirt or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's adding some character. That means they're like sly, conniving fucks that are like messing with people. And it's like, how are we gonna get out of this? Are we gonna like beat their ass? Are we gonna run away? What should we do? So it's like, so that means they've done shit like this before. That adds a little bit of like character to them that we don't really get as much in like the actual movies. I'm just like, god damn it.
What
the stuff that winds up on the cutting room floor.
Oh man, I don't know the context in which how this could have happened, but would have been something really cool or interesting to see is if there was some sort of scenario where Vader and Obi-Wan got stuck somewhere and like they had to work together. And it's like the redux of that relationship, but it's Vader and Obi-Wan. That would have been kind of cool. I don't know the context of which that's happening, but I would like to see it.
Which you know what? And going back to the show itself, like, because I'm thinking about how we could have improved it, and I hate to say this as much as I like her, cut out the plot line with Leia.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think how like you can streamline the story between Obi-Wan and Vader.
Because the whole thing could have just been Reva hunting Obi-Wan. She's on a desert planet. That it's a big ball of sand. He has a lot of places to run and hide. And so it's like, and you could have introduced like a teenage Boba Fett on the planet, because I don't remember where the fuck he was by this point. That could have been a run-in that you had that was interesting. Like, you could have explored Obi-Wan's history in tandem with Vader's, like, history. As Reva's, like, hunting him down, jumping planet to planet on this revenge scheme to get him and take him as a trophy, like, to Vader. And then you can figure out it's like, while his guard is down and he's praising me, she wants to... Because that's the thing is with the Inquisitors too, is leaning into the whole, not the dyad, the rule of two. is like you want to become the next top dog in the Sith, but you have to take out one of the two people up there.
Right.
Because, the only reason Vader didn't take out Palpatine is because, and he kept trying to recruit Luke in the original trilogy, is so that they could take out Palpatine and, we can rule the galaxy together. And it's like, yeah, because there's only supposed to be two of those motherfuckers because everybody's walking around with Sith powers. Like, well, fuck, that's a problem. So, it could seem like Vader's trying to groom Reva, but he actually knows who she is. Like, she's playing into this role and thinking, yeah, we're gonna, be the next two, and I'm going to usurp Vader, but really, I'm gonna take him out because I have my own ulterior motive. And Vader knows that she's gonna betray him, but hoping that she chooses right, and obviously she wouldn't, and then she gets struck down and get killed. So we don't have to figure out what to do with Reva for her own, I guess, spin-off series or comic books or whatever they're gonna do with the character. But yeah,
I don't
like
know.
that's a very simple way to streamline it. And because I like Reva and I like her being a bridge, I wish they did better by her. And unfortunately, I think that means we have to sacrifice the plot line with Leia. But that means now you have to make Obi-Wan more introspective. Then you can have him meditating and talking to Qui-Gon. Or fuck it, have him talk to fucking Qui-Gon's master. Have him talk to other Jedi from before. You can confirm whether, because we don't really have a full confirmation that Mace is dead. Maybe he runs into Mace who's alive. Maybe he runs into Mace's Force ghost. Sam Jackson is filming for Marvel right now. He has the time. Just throw his robes on. It won't take long.
I would have liked to see, I don't know the timeline of events and where this story takes place, but part of me was holding out for hope that Cal Kestis was going to show up in the show. Because like all those actors, they look like
I think it's
the actors, like they did motion capture.
Yeah.
So they could show up in shows.
I think it's Fallen Order. He was a teenager during Revenge, during Order 66, because he was a Padawan then.
Yeah.
So Fallen Order is 5 years after that, and this is 10 years after Revenge.
So show where that character is 5 years after Fallen Order, which he doesn't have to look that different for that.
Yeah, I believe so. But yeah, he could have ran into Cal, because I was kind of hoping he'd show up too, because it's just Cameron Monaghan.
Yeah, you know what else doesn't play when you watch the trilogies back to back, which I'm sure is something you notice, is the fact that don't in the original trilogy say that like Jedis are a myth and like nobody remembers them, but it's only been like 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, that was a separate thing that I pointed out to y'all one time, is that I learned while listening to a podcast where we were talking about Obi-Wan. Fucking Han was like 30 when Leia was 19. That shit's weird. We don't talk about it much, but that's some weird ass shit, bro.
Is he 30?
The fuck you doing with a teenager?
Confirmed?
He's either 30 or late 20s. He's in his 20s during Solo, and then A New Hope is a couple years after that, and Leia was 19 because Luke and Leia are twins, and he was 19.
It was a long time ago. Rules were different back then. It's space.
Robert Kelly got 30 years, bro. Don't do that. On that age ain't nothing but a number. All right, nigga.
It's a galaxy long, long ago. But yeah, no, I think that.
Hold up. Let's see what the internet says. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
He was 29.
He's 29. Okay.
He was 29 in New Hope. She was 19. That's weird, buddy. That's a little weird.
A little sus. Yeah, I think. I wish they wouldn't have brought in Luke and Leia. Like, you can show Luke on the planet, but then make it an entirely separate story. Because then I feel like that just makes things a little bit messier when bringing it back to the original trilogy. Because like she's not going to mention the fact that she already knows Obi-Wan. Like,
I think it actually would have been. Yeah, it would have been cooler actually if where he ended was meeting Leia and having him do that hello there to her.
Yeah. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. Because had he given, you can have him like, run into Luke. I think he should have like snuck the toy to Luke, and maybe on one of his last spots where Reva's chasing him, that's the, because he thinks maybe he has safety with the Organas. And he's like, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't really need the help, or some shit like that, feeling like he's protected. And she just like blitzing through motherfuckers. And maybe that's where, wait, I don't know if this would be a continuity error or not, but it's like, maybe that's where Darth Vader learns of like Leia's existence. He may not know that she's his daughter, but he does feel that there's something different about her. Like he feels there's a twin to some weird shit on the planet.
Well, did he?
Because there's clearly
Force
allusions in the show that
in the original movie, did he feel that she had the Force? I don't think Vader. We never find out that Vader knows that Leia's his daughter. We just know that.
I don't think he ever addressed it, but he knows that Luke is his son.
Yeah. So. I don't know. I think just overall this show was pretty disappointing. I think there has to be some sort of edit where they just streamline it with just the Vader and Obi-Wan stuff. Because when it's focusing on that, that's when the show's at its best.
Yeah, give it a month. Because they put so much in the marketing of just like Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Reva. And I wish that was really what the focus was. But it was like Obi-Wan, Anakin, Reva, O'Shea Jackson Jr., that one rebellion chick, Leia.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Kumail Nanjiani doing jack shit. Like, it's like, and the sad thing is, like, I like that Leia actress. I think she embodies the character incredibly well. Bringing back the Organas, I think, is a nice callback. I would have moved a lot of stuff around, and I think I would have tried to make it a little bit more personal, because you can still have him get off the planet if he's trying to run away. But, if he's like, hey, if I want to keep Luke safe, I actually have to create distance. But I will come back so that I can teach him the ways of the Force. And Uncle Owen's like, fuck that, get off the planet, nerd, before you get my nephew killed. Like, so like they're still in character. It can still work.
So let me ask you this: do you want a season 2? Because I think they were originally going to be a limited series.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I'm like, what is there to tell?
I don't.
We're just gonna muddy this more?
I don't. Yeah, I don't want. Don't get me wrong. Look, you had your chance and you blew it. Sorry. If they want to do a Vader show, I'm fine with that. Maybe we'll get more Hayden Christensen and some flashbacks. But yeah, you had your shot. You blew it. Got to move forward, bro. I'm sorry. Like, if, I'm cool with like a Vader spinoff. I don't really want a Reva spinoff. If we get it, I'm rooting for, what's the actress' name?
Who?
The
actor Mose something. I don't know.
Moses. Yeah, Moses Ingram. Yeah. Like, I'm rooting for Moses Ingram. Love a black woman from infinity to infinity and beyond. Like, rooting for her. Get your check, sis. Get that lightsaber drip. Love that for you. But, like, I'm not really checking for a Reva spinoff like that. It's not on my, like, if she has a comic, sure, I'll read it. That's probably what they're going to do. If they give her like an animated series, maybe she runs in a mall or some shit, who knows, and they team up and do gay crime across the universe. Cool. Like, I'm with the shits. Like, yeah, maybe make her the first black gay Sith, check all those boxes. But like, you had your chance and you blew it. Cause like, and that's why I said up top, I'm just like, the show was good. It just wasn't great. And it should have been great easily, because you didn't have to do that much.
Right.
And I think they did a little too much, and it kind of bogged it down, because like exact by the end of the show, your exact words came to mind. Did this show justify its own existence? I don't really think it did. What it did justify is that one line in Empire Strikes Back where Luke is fighting Vader and goes, "He told me enough. He told me you killed him." And I'm like, oh. And the other line in A New Hope where he's like, "Well, your father, he was, Darth Vader killed your father." And I'm like, oh, okay. It just adds context to two lines in two movies that didn't really need it. Like, we can function off the metaphor themselves, but thanks, I guess. Like, somewhere there is a way to re-edit all 9 of these movies and a bunch of footage from the Clone Wars series and all these live action projects to make it like something actually cohesive. I just don't know how you do it. Like, I can see the edits on YouTube now of like the fight between Vader and Luke, and just he told me enough. He told me you killed him, and then Vader has that recognition of him yelling at Obi-Wan, just like, I hate you, and he's like, no, I killed Anakin, and then just him telling, like, dropping the bombshell on Luke. I can see that edit. That's actually really cool visually. Too bad you blew it.
Yep.
Like the highs in the like the highs in the show are high, but everything else is just kind of meh.
Yeah, it's just kind of
yeah. It's just meh. It's like it's fine, and that's what's disappointing is that it's just fine.
Yeah,
especially from Deborah Chow, who I liked her as a director, but now I'm wondering, I'm just like, fuck, should we have given it to Bryce? Because Bryce Dallas Howard's directing Mandalorian 2 is like some of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, I know. Bryce is killing it. She's killing the directing. Happy that she stepped into that space like her father, and she's killing it. Yeah. Not the most enjoyable show. So you know what? I think we've watched some other really good shows too. Recently.
Yeah. So
that's not necessarily the only thing that's filling our palate.
Exactly. So before we get to Umbrella Academy, did you see Jurassic World Dominion? I almost forgot about this. Okay. I will talk about it very, very briefly, and then we can talk about Umbrella Academy and then skedaddle. I saw it. I do intend to probably try and see it again. Of the Jurassic World movies, it's my favorite. That is not to say it's great. I just found it to be the most entertaining. I like the new side character, surprisingly. There's I think there's a guy named Rufus, and then DeWanda Wise's character, who, God, she's so gorgeous. Beautiful woman. Talented ass actress. She's a whole lot of fun, the returning cast. Weirdly enough, see, they justify their existence, and that movie's like not that great. But it's fun. And where it ends is, I'd say conclusive of a plot. They kind of skip over a fair amount of plot threads that they probably should lean into more, to it being more of like a take care of our planet kind of message. And I'm trying to recall it now. I just, I took my dad to see it to celebrate Father's Day early. Like, we had fun. The effects and visuals are good. There's some pretty visuals. There's some nice set pieces and set designs. Rexy has a cool last fight that's actually set up in a prequel YouTube video that I wish they would have attached to this fucking movie, because it's really damn good. But yeah, I mean, acting's good. Bryce Dallas Howard, still just great. Everybody loves her. Pratt serves his purpose fine. Honestly, it's like I mostly enjoyed like the new characters and then the returning old characters and the occasional callbacks they did to them and whatnot. Because Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum and however millions of dollars they had to play Sam Neill to get back, they're all on their A game. They're all doing their thing. So, if you don't really care for the franchise, I wouldn't say go see it. Like, it's not gonna. If you love this franchise, it's just more of what you're used to, because fucking what's his name? He's not a good writer. He's a fine director, but he is not a good writer. Stop letting him write stuff.
It's kind of sad.
The fact that
I think it's kind of sad that, because it's supposed to be serve as the end of the trilogy, right? The end of this, or not even the end of the trilogy, the end of the whole Jurassic saga, or does it set up for another one?
Not really. Nothing like. I mean, you could make one if you wanted, but it's not like where it at. Do you care for spoilers about it?
Well, just tell me this: does it feel like an ending?
Yeah.
Okay, but the fact that you're talking
Yeah,
about
it's an ending. It's not like an open book. It's like if you wanted to tell more stories, you could, but it's like, yeah, it ends. There's an ending.
Okay.
Life finds a way, is the best way to surmise it.
Okay. So that being said, it takes two trilogies, and it's the ultimate culmination of those two trilogies. And I think that, the fact that you're having
it handles it better than Rise of Skywalker does. I will say that.
Okay.
Which, when your bar has been javelin 10 feet into hell, it's pretty easy to surpass it. But
I'll say this about Rise of Skywalker. Did I walk out of it like first get-go having some problems? Yeah, but when I first saw it, I had fun with it. I thought it was a fun movie.
I thought it was like
but I thought it was fun. I haven't seen it
not
since,
at all.
But I thought I had a good time overall. Is it messy? Yes. Is it a blockbuster? Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker only entertained me from the lens of, wow, I can't believe they actually did all of this and said, cut it, print it, send it to theaters. Like, it's more of like a fascination of a project versus Dominion, which is like, well, like, I know what I'm here for. There are two things if there's two things to know about me, I have two great loves, dinosaurs and Gabrielle Union. And if I am ever faltering on one of those things, you know that the government got me. So it's like, we're going to establish that here and now. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to see this bullshit again because you know what? I like dinosaurs. There were dinosaurs in the movie. I am content. I am not good because I know the director / writer, he's not good. And the fact that he almost got picked for the original version of Rise of Skywalker baffled the dog fuck out of me because I'm like, he's not good. He can't write. Why would you give this to him? And when we got that Duel of the Fate script, I'm like, this is some bullshit too. It's just less bad than Rise of Skywalker is. That's all. It still had some dumb shit in it. So I'm like, stop. No, just give him small indie projects from now on. Get him away from blockbusters, Should have given this shit to like Taika Waititi or something. See something interesting. Maybe get a musical number with the dinosaurs or some shit. But I didn't hate it. It's my favorite of the new trilogy. Like, of all the movies, oddly enough, it's like my third favorite out of 6 movies.
Okay.
Smack dab in the middle. That's the funny thing. Like, it's the original Lost World. This
3
World 1, 3, and Fallen Kingdom is dead last because fuck that movie. God, fuck that movie. Saw it twice, still fuck that movie. Which is a shame because I really like J.A. Bayona's directing. But man, that writing is such hot dog water. A dinosaur has an evil laugh. Get the fuck out. Please get the fuck out.
God. Well, you know what? You saw it, you lived it, and just now it can live in our memories. Or your memories, specifically.
Well, I'm going to see it again, too. I gotta take my boy to see it. I'll probably be under the influence that second time because
as you should be.
But it has some interesting set pieces. It has some interesting ideas, a lot of which kind of go nowhere. But boy, fuck it, just leave these dinosaurs alone. Like leave. If there's one thing to take away from this podcast, leave the women alone and leave the goddamn dinosaurs alone.
Amen. Amen to both those statements.
But yeah, so let's talk about Umbrella Academy season 3. Every season of this show is a whirlwind. I'm trying to figure out if I like it better than season 2.
No,
because
someone who just watched it. No, I don't like it better than season 2. I enjoy it though.
I think it's still pretty strong. I think I like the where it ends better than season 2.
Okay.
Like, see, don't get me wrong. Season 2 has a dope ass cliffhanger, but where season 3, well, actually, I don't know. I think I like them about the same. I think I like their climaxes about the same. 3 is good. I don't know where I would cut it, but it did feel like it dragged a little in the middle. Did you get that kind of vibe too?
Funny enough,
I'm trying to think of like.
No.
Say what?
I said funny enough. No.
Okay.
I think, unlike most of the people who watched it, I didn't binge the show. I watched it over the span of a week, and I watched each episode because I watched it. I guessed it on my friend's channel, The Real Rejects. Go check them out if you like that kind of content. But we watched each episode, and after reacting to each episode, reviewed each episode, like talked about it. So we had time to think about how we felt about each one. And I remember distinctly coming out of the first episode and like liking it, but not like have the same powerful energy like off the gate that the first episode of season 2 had. And though I enjoyed all the episodes, I think for me, my enjoyment went from liking, like for the first 5 episodes at least, it was like liking the odd ones, loving the even ones, and then from 6, it was just out the gate awesome for me. Like I really enjoyed every episode from 6 on. And then the finale, I thought the finale was good, even though there's some stuff that didn't quite make sense for me. But certain characters, I feel they made some writing choices that, while I understood,
we're gonna get into that.
I didn't love the execution of, and it kind of annoyed me in my experience of it. And yeah, I'd say overall it was a really entertaining season of television. But if I had to rank all the shows, all 3 seasons, it would be season 2, season 1, season 3 for me.
I might be in the same place as you. I think I might rank them the same, which is hard because I think 3 is good. So it's not to say that like 3 is.
I don't think it's like
it's
phenomenal, but I think it's really
like
good.
I think 2 does a lot of character progression. I think. So here's the thing. I think the handling of 3's finale, I like better than 2, but I like their endpoints the same.
No, I think I like.
But I think the majority of the story of 2 I like a little stronger than 3, and one is fine. 1 is good. Because that whole setting of them being in the 50s offers a lot of narrative liberty and a lot of creativity and arcs for most of the characters. With Klaus being gay, Allison being black, fucking now Victor, formerly Vanya being like at the time a lesbian, now a trans man. We'll get into that too. But so it's like most people in the family have to like deal with, hey, we're in America in the 50s and this is not a good time for who I am as a person.
I really liked where Allison was dealing with the racism. I really, really enjoyed the character of Ray in season 2.
Yes.
And I liked seeing him come back.
Yeah, Ray was cool.
Yeah.
I see a black man in a positive light.
Cool black man, very suave. Like I really dug that guy. I liked.
And she got her powers back, which, the way I was stressed that she wouldn't have her powers for the whole season, like, was fucking with me.
Oh, in season 2?
Yeah, I got really, really nervous because like I was scared she was gonna die in season 1, and then when they basically nerfed her because she has her in at the time Vanya, had some of the most busted fucking powers.
Yeah. Well, wasn't she? I think she had her powers back by the beginning of season 2 because then wasn't she I think she was in the 60s for like a year, and they showed her recovery eventually being able to speak again. So I think she had she was able to she got him back. It was just like I got nervous in the gap between 1 and 2 that they were gonna like when they initially did it in season 1, I got nervous they were gonna kill her off, but then they nerfed her and I thought it was gonna be like a permanent nerf, but for her to get it back like early into season 2 brought me a lot of relief. So it's like that gap, and then and we can get into spoilers too for season 3, but those are just kind of our general thoughts. So let's get into spoilers. But speaking of Allison, boy, what a shift! What a shift! That one was
to her credit, Shawty acting her ass off.
She did her thing.
But she did her thing. But man, even when I'm watching it, I'm just like, she used to be the shining light and beacon of optimism. She's she seems very upset about this losing her husband and daughter thing.
I don't
Boy.
like you.
Man, what did they do to make Allison that mad?
Right? Shit. No, I like.
It's like she was not happy. I was like, it's goddamn. I was like, oof.
Man, like, yeah.
What got me to with the let's talk about the sparrows too while we're at it. Because how did you feel about the sparrows? I quite like them. Low key, their powers are a little bit better than the Umbrella Academy outside of Allison and Victor.
I thought they were fine, you know, like they were like a effective unit, but I think an aspect of them reminded me of the boys. Like, even though they were like the face of these heroes, they stayed together through adulthood, but they were kind of shitty. Like, and they would do like things in public. I was like, no one's talking about this. No one's paying attention to what they're doing right now. And like,
why did this nigga one get dusted?
Just like kidnapping a dude just on a jog. Like, no one's talking about this.
Yeah. Why did that nigga one get dusted so fast, bro?
Quick.
I'm like, come on, man. The black guy. He got snatched at the beginning of the first we didn't see him till like episode 6. I'm like, well, goddamn, what did he get hired for?
I thought we were past this. I thought we were done killing off the black characters first. I thought we moved on.
That's what I was saying.
Umbrella Academy. Okay.
Right, Robot Mom come around like, oh, this is God. He goes and touches the fireball, and that nigga was gone.
That shit
and I'm like,
made no sense to me. Why the fuck did the robot start worshiping the black hole? That they never explained that.
They never did explain that. They just killed her.
They just killed her. I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah, there's certain aspects of it that had me head scratching, but what keeps me invested in the show is the fact that I enjoy these characters, and we've gone through. Some cases only 20 days with them. Other cases we've spent a little bit longer. But yeah, I think that the crux of the show really is them. And I think with the first 2 seasons which kind of why it didn't have me as hooked, even though I was enjoying watching them because I liked the characters, was the fact that we didn't really know what the mystery was until the end, towards like halfway through the season. But in the other 2 seasons, the first season, the mystery was who killed Hargraves, and then it was like what's gonna cause the doomsday, and the second one was like, well, how do we get out of the 60s? So the energy of the show wasn't as prevalent in the first half because none of the characters knew that there was a sense of urgency to what they were doing.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you there, and
the Sparrow Academy never really got developed. Like, as I was watching it, the 2 things that simultaneously aggravated me were both knew Ben and Allison, and then over time Allison annoyed me more than Ben did. But then Ben kind of got better, but Allison got worse.
I had kind of the opposite, where it's like I adjusted to new Allison a little because Ben was just a dick the whole time until like the last episode or the last 2.
But there's episodes where he was a dick, but he was like, it didn't bother me as much because it wasn't so like it wasn't so angsty. It wasn't like in your face about it.
His whole family was basically dead at that point. So.
Oh, also, I don't know if you knew this because I certainly didn't even think to look until I saw a video. Did you know there was an after credit scene?
What? Wait, what was it? Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's a post credit scene. No one's talking about it.
I'm gonna have to play that back. I know about like the end scene about like Hargreaves Company or whatever the fuck, but that's at the end of the episode.
No, yeah, there's a small quick scene at the very end of the credits that it's kind of ambiguous what it means. It means one of 2 things. Are you gonna watch it or am I just tell you? You
can tell me, but I'll still watch it after the fact.
So it cuts to a train in South Korea and you see Ben.
Oh, I did see that. Okay, I did see it.
Yeah, Ben in a suit and tie, and it's saying next up this. I was like, okay, it's either done a time jump, and the angsty Ben is now in North Korea, or there's now 2 Bens in this version of reality.
Yeah, so I didn't know what the fuck that meant, because I thought, I couldn't, because it opened with the Sparrow one about the chick on the in Korea giving birth to Ben.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? I can only assume Ben, but
No, it's the same train. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure.
I think it is. So I'm just like, okay, so what's up with time? Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. That shit was weird. Okay, can we talk about who was Genesis Rodriguez's character? Which, by the way, couldn't have told me that was a Latina woman. I completely.
I was talking about
I'm like
Sloane. Is she Latina?
Yeah, that's Genesis
Sheesh.
Rodriguez.
Oh my god, that girl is fine as hell. I did not know.
Oh, she's beautiful.
She was Hispanic or Latina.
But can we talk about Sloane's relationship with Luther and how it just moved at literal light speed?
Stupid quick. Like this man wanted
like
to
because we were talking about. I'm like, bro, were you not just trying to fuck your sister? Like
right.
Literally 20 days ago in reference to you? Like,
well, it's been a year for him. Well, because Luther was in. Was there for like a couple years or a year. But
okay,
still.
you're right. But like, dog, that's why when she was forcing him to love her again, I'm just like, yeah, I feel like Allison's gonna feel a way about this. And then when it happened, they got a little awkward. It's like, no, I heard a rumor that you're going to stay. I'm like,
ooh, yeah. I was like, oh, this is very Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah,
no autonomy. This is a little.
I heard a rumor that you love me, and I'm like, oh God, she's in pain. She's down bad. She lost both of her niggas.
She really did.
It's not just. It's one thing to lose your man to time, but lose one man to time and another man to a bitch that he just met who gives him gravity pussy.
To a white woman,
right?
Well, no,
a white passing woman
Latina.
at that.
A white passing woman, right?
But that pussy had him on the ceilings. Like, I'll bet he was over the moon. She had him floating.
Right. She had this man floating. Genesis wrote. Oh yeah, no, she panicked. Had no clue.
Yeah, but like that relationship moved it. Like, even for me, I'm like, this seems a little. I don't know. Maybe I don't remember season 1 and 2 that well. Did Luther seem a little different?
Well, in season 1, he's very much the straight man, and then he was about him loosening up. In season 2, he's a total goofball. So season 2 Luther and season 3 Luther feel very much the same to me.
Okay, because he's like I remember he was a straight man. I'm like, I know he wasn't. I knew he like softened up a little bit, but god damn, he was wacky through this show.
Yeah,
which I guess when he's like the monkey man.
You don't remember him and the dude did like helium together and they like tripped out on drugs in season 2?
I actually don't remember that bit. I'm trying to remember the parts I remember. Because season 2 was like 3 years ago, wasn't it? Or 2 years ago.
2020 it came out, season 2.
Okay, yeah, so 2 years ago, yeah.
But also the thing this show does is like, what? It's been like 2 years since the last season, right? They picked this motherfucker up like immediately. Like, you better remember what the fuck happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to tell you. We ain't giving you a recap. We ain't doing nothing.
Nope.
You better just know.
Nope. It's like, hope you recall. I will say of the things I do like in the show, talking about like while we're going around the family and everything, talking about Victor, I kind of like how they, in a way, retconned his arc and retrofitted it to what happened with real life. So you know, the dead name Ellen Page, but now Elliot Page. Elliot transitioned. Mm-hmm. You know, publicly came out as a trans man. Love that for him and his little abs. But so in the show, in an interesting bit of like creative solidarity, I would say, they kind of retrofit Vanya's original narrative, which to my perception, and I would say the average person without context, is about, you know, being just being a lesbian and you know, being gay in the 50s and being able to like love someone when it's not publicly acceptable. But they kind of retroactively change it to him being able to accept himself as a man in society, and how he learned to love himself through that woman and through those experiences, you know, being a woman, and now seeing it's like, oh, I'm not a woman, I'm a man. And he, you know, got to shape up and got some new clothes. And what I also like is they didn't really stick on it very long, which is good, because I would say in terms of navigating acceptance, especially being someone that's like dated and had like, you know, trans and non-binary partners and shit like that. The less you think about it, the easier it is to just kind of adjust. So when they're like, "Where's Vanya?" and it's like, "It's Victor now," and they're like, "Oh, for real?" And he's like, "Yeah," and it's like, "Okay." And just people like move the fuck on with the plot. I'm like, thank you for not like I think the less big deal the more you normalize it, I think the like it drew attention to itself just long enough, but it normalized it also just as fast, which I appreciated just as like a cis guy who's watching the show. So I don't know, I think they handled that like exceptionally well. And I'd say my favorite bit was Diego and Luther, like when Luther learned it and Diego's like, "Luther wants to throw you a big party to let you know that you're loved. Do you feel loved?" And Victor's just like, "Yeah." And Diego's like, "Good, because you are." And he just walks away, and I'm just like, yeah, that's just like a nice message. That's just nice. It's just a nice, wholesome moment between siblings. But now I feel really bad for Allison that Allison doesn't have a sister. So it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was.
You're the only sister in your family, so it's like all you have now is like Sloane, I guess, and now she's God knows
I
where.
don't know where she is now. If she even knows about them or anything. Yeah, I think that. Funny enough, I was had a conversation with a friend about this earlier, and as I was watching it, it was like I understand your perspective, and I think that it wasn't something that was integral to the plot. So the fact that we did move on allowed room for us to focus on other aspects of the character. But I think that in previous seasons, Vanya's self-discovery of their identity, or Victor's self-discovery of their identity, was something that was a major part of season 1 and season 2. So
Right.
for something that big to just happen within a 20-minute span, and then everybody off the bat immediately accepting it, felt a little strange to me. Is because, you know, I feel like in real life it's not as easy for everybody to do that, but I understand why they
sadly no.
Exactly. I think realistically it's not as easy.
How well I know.
Yeah, in real life it's not as easy for people to do that. Like, fuck, man, even as me and Greg were watching it, we would slip up as like from time to time and say Vanya and then correct ourselves and say Victor. So the fact that nobody like even made a mistake, and it just felt like, I don't know how to describe it. Not like it felt like it didn't feel natural to me, and I felt like with the character in season 1 discovering their value and discovering that they are powerful, in season 2 discovering their sexuality, I think it would have felt natural, because this character is all about the growth and self-discovery for the realization that they are a man, to be a part of their story. I think just with the progression of how that character has grown, it felt natural. But with it, I feel like the change from Vanya being meek to realizing she's powerful, to then knowing she's powerful, to then realizing that she's empowered by the fact that she is in love with another woman. I think the fact that she goes from a woman to a man, or he goes from a woman to a man, feels like something theoretically would be a bigger arc than both of those two things that we saw in previous seasons. But it was handled very quickly.
Yeah.
But it was handled quickly because it's something that shouldn't be, but is like kind of taboo, and not everybody knows how to accept right now. So we just have to go past it so that everybody's cool with it.
Right.
So I think that's kind of how I looked at it.
Yeah, it's and I get what you're saying, because that's why I said I think it was definitely a retconned plot point, and
because I think if it wasn't a big deal in society, I think Vanya becoming Victor would have been part of that character's arc.
Yeah, but yeah, oddly enough, because it's like a talking point consistently in the real world, and it also happened like between seasons, so I imagine they were like mid writing, and then, you know, I almost called him Victor. Elliot Page, the actor, like came out and everything, and medically transitioned further and got like top surgery and shit. You know, it's like then I'm sure the writers were like, and probably spoke with him too about like getting his thoughts and everything, and maybe he had some input and was just like, I don't want them to focus on it too much. So the way I kind of interpret it, because I think you make a lot of like strong arguments too, and I'm definitely coming from a place of bias where like, if you give me about a week, I can probably switch your name and pronouns on a dime. Like I'm alarmingly quick
that's
with it.
where we're coming from our real life perspective, because it's like, okay, we like,
Yeah,
don't make a big deal about it. Let's just switch, and let's like, and granted, I am all about everybody's choice and wanting them to feel comfortable in their
yeah,
skin.
but it's not easy for everybody.
It's not easy for everybody, but something that big of a transition, in whether it's in real life or in a show, is an arc, and I feel like they rushed it for real life's sake. But granted, it gave us room to explore other aspects of the characters in the story. So it isn't something that bothered me, but but it is something that I noticed.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. I think that's a fair point. I think for how I'm kind of taking it is in the lens of all these changes that, from Vanya in self-actualization to Vanya in like sexual further discovery to Vanya transitioning into Victor, and and Victor further becoming more and more of like himself and everything. When I'm looking at season 3, I'm kind of seeing it from the lens of the characters, whereas season 1 and 2, I see it like not only, if that makes sense, from like a worldly lens. Like I think 1 and 2 we're kind of watching things unfold, and like you point out up top, those two have really strong mysteries, while season 3, the mystery like doesn't really introduce itself until like fully and flesh itself out more until like halfway through the story. So you're kind of down there with them.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking that's kind of the lens they took. It's like, if you're down there with the siblings, who they're a bunch of fucking weirdos already. So like their brother coming out as like, their sibling coming out as trans and telling them who they are, and they're already very accepting of other weird shit. Like they've been through 2 apocalypses and historical racism and a dead dad and a talking monkey and a robot mother. It's like, okay,
yeah, cool. I suppose
we
that's
love you
fair.
still.
That's a fair argument. Like, yeah,
like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I think it's the lens of framing. So I think it ties in with how it's framed. But I still think you do make a really strong point, though, to what you're saying. Because, like, yeah, if like you said, if it wasn't such a big deal in real life, they wouldn't have to minimize it on the show. If it was flipped and it wasn't such a big deal in real life, they probably would have spent more time on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also don't think that was their initial plan for Victor's arc either. Is they had to add in this additional thing of, oh yeah, he's a trans man, and we have to get everyone's reaction to that.
What was Victor's arc in this show, though? Because I think they do an interesting thing that I loved in episode, I think it might have been episode 8, where after Allison just straight up murders Harlan, 5 goes to Victor.
How did she kill him again?
They don't show us.
I can't remember
it. They show us it's off screen, like, what are you gonna do? And then it shows Harlan in the trunk. And I thought it was going to be a misdirect, but like, no, she just straight up murdered him off screen. We don't know how.
Or he killed himself.
Or she told him to kill himself or something. But
I heard a rumor you killed yourself. Runs into traffic.
Gossip alert. But
gotcha,
there is an interesting point. Is like 5 goes to Victor, and he's like, you know what? Someone who thinks they're right and then tries to work by themselves, they're called a villain. And don't test me, because if you become a villain, I'll kill you myself. And then they never addressed that point again. And I was like, that's fascinating, because I loved that exchange between those two characters, because they're, in theory, the most 2 powerful members of the family, or the 2 most effective members of the family. But then by the end
Allison
of the show,
Victor,
I don't think
busted power wise.
Huh?
I was just saying, Allison and Victor are busted power wise. 5 probably just the smartest.
Yeah, I don't think because of the fact that in the previous 2 seasons, Vanya's arcs were so integral to, Vanya's arcs were so integral to her identity at the time, Now Victor's arc, because they wanted to move past the transition quickly. I don't think their arc was as clear as um full,
Yeah.
because it went
Yeah, because
from like it went from kind of being like wanting to be like thinking they're gonna be like the new team leader because they're meeting with number one, to then discovering Harlan was still alive and then wanting to protect Harlan, to Harlan being dead, to then now having beef with Allison. And then
yep.
so there was
Yeah,
no clear through line for
and
their
then
story.
reconciling with Allison, like he flew through a bunch of shit.
Like that
I
character
agree
went
with
through
you
three
there.
different things, but I feel like the consistency of that. No, and because what was it? Vonnie got hit by a car and couldn't remember who she was. That's what season 2 was.
Yeah, that's what happened in season 2.
Say both seasons were about identity, because I think that's where the character works strongest. But I feel like it wasn't as fleshed out this season.
I think that can be said about most of the characters. Honestly, I think if we're talking who had the strongest stories, it's probably Klaus and maybe Diego. Like that was the weird one with Diego's storyline and his quote unquote son that's not really a son. Also, is that the brother of the little boy from Euphoria? Are those his brothers? Okay, because I'm like, that looked just like that little nappy headed ass little.
No, I knew it off the bat. I'm like, that's Ashtray? I was like, hell yeah, what's Ashtray?
Yeah, I'm like, is that Ashtray's brother? They look just like, because all the niggas
brother.
act.
Ashtray's Fez's
no, I'm saying like that. Okay.
You
no,
thought,
I'm saying
the kid.
Ashtray's actor.
Oh, you're like, is that like that kid looks a lot like Ashtray from Euphoria? Is that what you're saying?
Right. I'm like, I know that strong ass face. Him and his daddies and his brothers all got like the strongest fucking face.
Really?
But it's like it's like they look like they box. I think they do actually. I think one of them is an Olympic level boxer. That's neither here nor there. But
that kid Damian Wayne to somebody's Batman. I don't care who.
Dead ass, yo. He'd be really good with Pattinson. God, he'd be real. Oh fuck. Oh, I need it. God, he'd be good.
You'd kill.
He'd be great with Pattinson. But no. So it's like, that was some like weird shit, because like they kept talking. He kept pushing the little niglet off on other people and other places, and then at the end they're just like, "Well, Diego, you're a great dad." I'm like, get the fuck out.
You're a good dad. Psych, you're not a dad at all. Psych, the character's gone entirely and never comes back.
Yeah.
I was like,
yep.
yeah.
Never came back. And then, but Lila's like, but I am pregnant. Is it Lila?
Yeah, it is
that
Lila.
Shawty's name?
I thought she was fine.
Okay. Yeah, so I was finna say, bro, it's like, damn, she bad. She crazy, but she bad.
You know it.
That's why we need contraception. But but no, it's like, and then Lila's like, psych, he's not your kid, but psych, I do have a real baby. Ooh, you gonna be a daddy. So his arc was weird. Like Klaus was probably the most coherent, especially with like the finding the mothers thing. I thought that was a really interesting plot. So I enjoyed the season. I am coming to realize I think it was a little bloated.
It was bloated
because you
think about you know who I'll say was my. When I look back at the end of the show, who was my favorite character this season? Well, I think my favorite.
It was
person
the crow
to
bitch.
Crow bitch. My favorite character to watch always is Klaus. My favorite character to. Okay, not my favorite character to see just on screen is Klaus, but I think my favorite character of the season was Hargraves. Because like I never knew that man.
Hargraves was really good this season, actually,
and I think this is the most Hargraves we've seen of any of the seasons, to be honest. Because like,
oh, for sure, I think they would use that actor just in case he kicks.
Yeah, he did it so well, and the subtle difference between the hard ass Hargraves we know from season 1 and 2 to drugged up Hargraves and like him being empathetic and helping Klaus is so subtle. But it's like it's very much prevalent, and I was like, man, I really want you to be good, but I know you got something up your sleeve, but I really want to trust you.
And then you get to the end, and
you get to the end, and like, yeah, he had this plan the whole time.
The weird fucking roach demons.
But then it
the
makes me
roach warriors.
wonder, if I were to go back and watch season 1, does this make sense? Because he starts his plan of Oblivion in 1918 because his wife's on the moon. But then he kills himself in the first season to bring the Umbrella Academy back together. So I'm like, okay, you just never had the intention of bringing your plan to fruition, and you just forgot about the Oblivion stuff? Because
what if this was the plan? What if all of this bullshit that happened, three apocalypses in a temporal fold-in, was his weird ass convoluted plan to get his shouty back?
Everything has conspired according to my design.
That would be Seto Kaiba levels of specific shit to go right.
Yeah. Okay, what I will say is, though I think this is the most bloated, kind of convoluted season of all the things, I'll say 2 things. 1, I really love the wedding episode. I thought it was very sweet, very tender.
That shit was, damn, that shit was silly, but it was fun. It was cute.
Fun and sweet. And 2,
I don't know where they got all that food from, but
2, I like where we leave all our characters this season. Because 1, after 3 seasons of seeing fucking big ass buff Luther, seeing regular Tom Hooper or whatever in his normal skin looked weird as fuck. I was like, oh my god.
That was weird, bro. I'm like, oh, he's just like a dude.
Just a lanky ass
and Ben
was so weird. He's just a
Ben was
guy.
there. Yeah, no, like, although the season was bloated, like, I can't say the plot lines weren't interesting.
No,
they were all exceedingly interesting. I just don't know.
It didn't make sense how Klaus got into Oblivion because he needs a body to come back from the Veil to, and so he just kind of reappeared in Oblivion.
Yeah, bro, the paradox itself with 5, just like
that didn't come back.
What was this?
Yeah, it was just a lot of
like it, like so he founded. What's it called? The organization? What are those motherfuckers called?
The Time
the council. The Time Bureau. So which, like, when he started farting and shit, I'm like, oh, that's where his clone is, or that's where his original is. What the fuck? So it's just like, okay, so they get to the Time Bureau. He's the founder of the Time Bureau, meaning he had to orchestrate all the shit that got him to work. So through the first apocalypse into the second somehow. And now there's a paradox, and he killed himself, but then they fixed the paradox, and now everything is fine. So did he still found the Time Bureau? Since the grandfather paradox is resolved? Also, that I don't know if that's a traditional grandfather paradox, because the grandfather paradox that I know is the one from Futurama. That's essentially, you fucked your grandmother and became your own grandfather, who then gives birth to your parents that have you. That's the grandfather paradox that I know. So the one they did in the show was, like, confusing to me. Well, not confusing. Like, they explained it very clearly, but it was different than what I know. So I'm like, oh, it's a grandfather paradox. Wait a minute. He's not fucking his own mom.
He's not fucking his mom. What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, it's similar actually. The one from Futurama was like, you kill your own grandfather, sleep. So it was like, but you sleep with your grandmother, and so she has, like, your father who marries your mother who has you. So it is still a grandfather paradox. Okay, it still works.
Okay.
So it's still the same. It's still the same. Never mind.
Okay.
Because the grandfather paradox is reliant on the grandfather dying, but something happening to still keep you around. So it's like, how do you exist when one is gone?
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to say was, I think that where this season ends, it doesn't create the same issue that season 2 had, where you immediately have to pick up from the moment season 2 ended with season 3. I feel like with where we are, it allows us to even take a little bit of a time jump. Because let's face it, we're 3 seasons in. The kid what was that, Aiden Gallagher or whatever? He's starting to get up there in age with Plan 5, So he doesn't look like
he's getting a little big.
Anymore. He's getting a little big. So I think we got to take a little bit of a time jump, because we can't keep saying that it's only been 30 days for this whole kid.
but that's really smart though, because they don't have their powers now.
Exactly.
So that means he's gonna age normal.
Yeah, he's gonna age normal.
And so, also, can we talk about how creative the production was for this? 'Cause you could clearly tell they filmed it mid-pandemic.
Yeah,
Like they stay at Hotel Oblivion a lot. Don't get me wrong.
and the house, and the Hargraves house.
Yeah, it's like they stay. Yeah, they're in the Hardgraves house. They're in Hotel Oblivion.
Outside.
But when they're out in like clearly open spaces with a lot of distance between them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, they were very smart about.
So
how
it's like they're very smart about like how they navigated locations and utilizing their budgets. Effects were solid. Yeah, I think the sparrows were okay. I wish we got a little bit more time to kind of get the sparrows. Like that one dude who, if you punch him in the face, it's like punching yourself.
Yeah, I
want
to
his
know more
like
about
recurve
them.
power.
I want to know more about.
But
them.
it didn't work all the time though, because they had the fight in the supermarket, and it would only happen like half the time. I'm like, so is it only certain body parts?
Or Jacob
Why
has
is
a
he
high tolerance
deformed?
for pain, something like that. Also, did
Oh, that's
did
true.
you notice in the flashback when it went to 2014 and it showed Pogo that his face wasn't as messed up as it was in the present?
I think I saw a picture of it actually, and I was like, huh.
Yeah, I guess as he got older, progressively becomes more grotesque.
Kids age you.
Yeah, his skin starts to sag more with age.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but I like where the season ends up, and yeah, looking forward to seeing where season 4 goes. Allison seemingly got everything she wanted after being the worst.
Yeah, she
for the entire
even though she like, which I'm wondering like what would have happened had Hargreaves completed his plan?
Yeah, notice
I think he did.
I think he did because he got his wife back. But I think I will say is that when the season started, I was like, it doesn't make sense. Like characters are doing things because the script says so, not because it makes sense logically. Like when the Umbrella Academy and the Sparrow start fighting, I'm like, why? Why are we fighting right now?
That's what I said. I'm like, bro, just talk to him for a second, because if somebody pops up in your house, it's like, hey, why are you here?
And you're all supposed
saying
to be
that this is your
heroes,
house.
So why are you guys fighting? Also, the fact that
why was their first instinct violence?
Yeah. Also, the fact that if you land in a timeline that is clearly not the one that you came from, Allison, why would you think that your life would still be intact if you clearly weren't part of the Umbrella Academy ever? Why would you think your daughter would still be there?
That was dumb.
So the whole premise.
Why did you think that's still your daughter?
So the whole basis of her arc starts from something that's stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb. My question was like, all right, how'd you get in the house? Which it shows at the end that she like knows where the key is. I'm like, how is that the same fucking key? How does that shit?
It's not the same
Wait
owners.
a goddamn.
How would they even? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's like how did you luck out that this couple happened to have all of the exact same shit that you did? These universes, which I guess between universes, architecture did not change.
Right, apparently.
Because like the outside part of the Hargreaves house is still the same. They changed the interior a little bit. They added some different floors, but that's another thing. Like the Sparrows fucking balled out. They got treadmills and shit.
Speaking of balling out, can we just acknowledge the fact that Pogo was balls deep in some chick like in his trailer?
Yeah. Yeah, he just had a bitch in the trailer. I'm like, who is fucking that's why we got monkeypox now.
But this man, Pogo is ripped as fuck. I don't know if you saw his arms in that biker jacket. I'm like, okay, Pogo. Okay.
He's a chimpanzee. Them niggas are strong as hell. Remember what Dave Chappelle said about monkeys?
He's the perfect chimp.
Remember what Chappelle said about monkeys? You either fuck monkeys or you fuck people, and a monkey will rip your dick off like a celery stalk. Chimps are strong as fuck, bro.
Yes,
I wouldn't want to fight a fucking monkey.
He should have been on the team.
Fuck that.
I'm mad he wasn't in the season more.
He should have.
I wish he was more in the season, because when it showed 5 go to the room and Hargreaves was making the deal, I could have sworn it was going to be Pogo he was making the deal with, but then it turned out to be Allison. So I was like, damn, I wish I could have utilized him more, because it sure would have been cool.
Oh, another thing. So how did you feel about the whole subplot with Harlan being the one that killed their mothers and created the paradox?
I called that shit before the show revealed it. I was so happy with myself.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Because like when it happened,
as soon as he
because
walked
like
over to the newspaper, I was like, oh, he killed their parents. It was him. And then like 5 minutes later, they said it. But
man, that scene was sad, bro.
really
Watching
sad.
the moms have the brain aneurysm.
I had to like, yeah, man. As we were watching it, I had to like stop myself from making a Peter Quill reference because she was balling the bed.
No.
She put out her hand like Meredith Quill. I was like, don't do it. Don't you fucking do it.
And that shit was sad too.
It was hella sad. They're both of them really sad.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, I didn't love the season. I really enjoyed it though. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
was entertaining.
It was entertaining. That's the one thing about Umbrella Academy. Whether the quality dips or not, you know, the laughs are still there, the character, the flair is still there. Even through a pandemic, having to film it, all the elements we enjoy about this show are still present. Was it the best executed? No, but you know, I'm sure going forward they have a lot of wiggle room to really explore and how to evolve this show. Like they continue to do, because each season is vastly different from the last. That's something you can really give them credit.
Yeah, you gotta give them that. Everything's very unique when it comes around. So,
also, quick side note: did you watch Barry?
No, I remember you recommending it though.
But you've never seen it?
No.
You've never seen a single episode of that show? Are you serious?
I haven't.
Oh my boy. Oh my boy.
I've heard of it. I think it might be in my queue.
Oh my
but
boy.
I gotta start Westworld too.
Bro, I love you. Please, please, please watch that show. You will not regret it. It's only each season.
I've heard
each season's only 8 episodes, and each of them are half an hour. Like easy watch.
Oh, okay.
Easy watch.
That's doable.
So yeah, that's all I gotta say. That has nothing to do with Umbrella Academy, but yeah. Also, anyone listening who hasn't seen Barry, please go watch Barry.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out because I get ads for it, and I've heard positive. Is that Rainn Wilson that's the lead?
No, it's Rainn Wilson. That's funny.
Not Rainn Wilson. I'm sorry. Who am
Bill
I thinking
Hader.
of?
It's Bill
You know
Hader.
who I'm talking about.
He's the star, the writer, directs most of the episodes, and the producer.
Yeah, so and I like Bill Hader, so you know I'll have to give it a watch. I gotta catch up on Westworld, and I guess next time we'll probably talk about Stranger Things, since I believe that dropped.
Stranger Things and Thor,
recording.
And Boys.
Oh Christ! Okay, that's gonna be some probably more so for Blurred. All right. Well, Aaron, where can people find you at, man?
Well, you can find me most recently on The Real Rejects, reacting to Umbrella Academy Season 3. I'm not on social media at this time, so they'll probably be returned sometime this year. But yeah, that's where you can find me in the meantime.
Okay. And if you're looking for me, you can find me on my social media at Will the Greatest, both on YouTube and Instagram. Don't forget to follow the podcast Instagram handle. That is Atlas Comics Elite, ATLAS Comics Elite, comics with an S. And don't forget to ask us question with hashtag AskAce so we can answer them on the show. See you guys in the next episode. Peace.